I never meant to cause you any sorrow. I never meant to cause you any pain. Only wanted one time to see you racing. I only want to see you racing in the fucking rain. Fucking rain. Fucking rain. The fucking rain. Fucking rain. Fucking rain. Fucking rain. I only want to see you racing in the fucking rain.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be your weekend lover.
Oh my goodness.
I only wanted to be, what's he say? Some kind of friend.
Some kind of friend.
Something like that. Yeah.
You got a friend in me.
Why can't we race in the rain?
Oh, we did.
No, we raced in the wet.
No, it was raining. Only
Not-
want to
listen.
see you
Racing in the fucking rain.
wreck in the fucking rain.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Purple Rain,
What's
hell
the
of a
deal?
song by Princess.
Prince. My princess.
Nah, it's a great song, but I only want to see him racing in the fucking rain. And
I don't want any rain.
Well, that's true.
Keep the rain away.
But if it does rain, I want them to race. And they tried, but they got scared. So,
Well, it'd be like that sometimes.
and then it started raining real hard. So,
I thought the race was over.
yeah, me too. But how was your weekend?
It was all right. Oh, yeah, by the way, welcome back to the High Line Podcast, episode 111. Can't say 111 around this motherfucker.
Yeah, because that's 3.
111 is 3 ones.
3 times 1 is 3.
I'm not saying 111.
If
I'm just
you
saying
triple
ones. Triple ones. Not 111, triple ones.
I don't think
Eat that.
no.
Eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I hadn't had but one meal today.
That sounds
so
like
I need
a
lunch and
personal
dinner.
problem. My weekend was all right. Didn't do a whole lot. Went down to my family farm in Georgia and sweated my balls off. John, what's his name? John, why'd you take your pants off? My balls was sweating. No, my balls was hot. Right?
His
Is it
name's
John?
Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis.
And he says, my balls was
I
hot.
wanted to do that at my farm this past week. But I went down there, put some deer corn out and some deer cameras. And the sweet, sweet, sweet summer heat down in South Georgia, which is, I forgot how bad that shit is. But other than that, I did some yard work and watched the races. Watched the Xfinity race on the way home Saturday. But was back in time Sunday to watch the Cup race back here at my old abode of his house. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty quiet 4th of July week for me. Didn't do nothing 4th of July. Didn't even get out of the house. Didn't shoot no fireworks. I didn't do nothing. So, but appreciate 4th of July, Independence Day. Just yeah, it's kind of a rest day for me. I didn't do a whole lot. What about you?
Same. Yeah, I didn't do anything on the 4th of July either, which I rarely do anymore. But
Yeah, it's like you grow out of it once you're
Yeah.
out of college and stuff.
yeah, I went to my sister's house. We ate some burgers, but that was really about all we did. And then over the weekend, of course, I worked all weekend, so I did watch the races, but didn't do anything other than work pretty much all weekend. So had my last 2 days off. We're shooting a podcast, and I'm back to the grind tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, did you enjoy this past weekend's race at Chicago?
Yeah, I think I did. Sunday kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth because you never want to see the race cut short for any reason. But Saturday was great. SVG and Kyle battling throughout the first and second stage there, and then the pit stops happen, and they have to work their way back up to the front, and of course SVG gets through there a little bit faster than Kyle did, so he ends up winning the race, and I think he'd probably won the race anyway, but yeah, it was really, really fun racing, really good race there, and then Sunday, you know, they're getting in the damn car, started the engines, like we're about to start rolling down pit road, and it starts raining, which is just, it's just dumb. Like I get it, and I'll get into it in a little bit, but I know it's not NASCAR's fault that it rained, but and a lot of people are saying you can't get mad at NASCAR for this because they have no control over the rain, but they do have control over when they start these races, and I'm not saying that it can't rain at noon or it can't rain at 1, but if it does rain at noon or 1 and this race starts at 4 o'clock, guess what? It still gets done. You can still go to your normal distance if the rain comes in the early afternoon. But when you put yourself in a box with a racetrack that doesn't have lights and you start in the late afternoon, you have no runway. If you have any major disruption, you can't finish the race. You're not going to be able to finish the race. That's why I never understood why NASCAR schedules these races in the early afternoon, or in the late afternoon, especially at tracks that don't have lights. Of course, the Coke 600, the Southern 500, those races need to start in the late afternoon because they're long as hell and they're going to go into night. But we got lights. But at these racetracks, Dover, I'm fucking blanking on some others that don't have lights, but Pocono, Chicago Street Course, New Hampshire. These races,
Talladega.
These races don't need to start at 4:30 because, like I said, if you have any, well, I guess technically it's Central Time. It was 3:30, but still, you've got no leeway if something goes wrong to get the race in. So that has put a damper on this whole weekend. Alex Bowman, not a huge fan of his winning, put a damper on the race. For me a little bit, not to mention Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski both finished poorly, which they had fast enough cars to run in the top 10, but they both had trouble in practice and qualifying, so had to start at the back. And when you don't get the whole race, you don't get enough time to work your way through there, or you get dumped at the end, which I still don't know what happened, but to Brad. But I do. Well, good. Maybe you'll be able to inform me here, but the racing on track was too good for me to feel as badly about this weekend as I do. And a lot of that's not in NASCAR's hands. A lot of that's to do with the weather. But NASCAR played a part in it, and they could have made a little bit different decisions, a little bit better decisions, in my opinion. And people are going to give me, oh, well, it's NBC's decision on when they start the race. I get that. It is NBC. They have a call that they get to decide when they put it on TV. But if NASCAR wants to run their race at 3 o'clock in the morning, they can run their race at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's their fucking series. If NBC wants to broadcast your race, guess what they're going to do? They're going to broadcast it when you say it's going. So you got to grow a little bit of balls there if you're NASCAR and tell them, hey, we're running this race at 1 o'clock. If you want it on TV, be there and set it up. But they're not going to do that. So overall, like I said, racing on the track was great. You had passing, wet weather to start with, started drying out, and wet weather again, and then a wreck and an hour and a half rain delay, and then wet weather for 20 laps, and then the race was over. So there were some things procedurally NASCAR did after it started raining that I disagree with, other than the race starting too late. I don't understand the end of stage 1 running 4 laps under caution because they didn't want the pit crews to decide the end of the stage. The pit crews are part of the fucking team too. There's a reason they pay these guys so they can go out there and help them win races and put tires on the car. So running 4 laps under caution for no reason makes no sense to me. I don't really necessarily agree with pulling them down pit road and red flagging the race after Chase Briscoe wrecked. I thought it was premature. I get that they didn't want another.
Was it Briscoe? I thought it was LaJoy. Oh no, LaJoy was the stage one.
Briscoe wrecking Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, thanks Chase.
What caused the
piece
red
of
flag?
Shit.
But
take out my pick.
Listen, every other series that races in the rain races with standing water on the track. Every other one of them. If you can't make the corner because you're not smart enough to slow down, that's a you problem. Don't red flag the race because somebody's too hard-headed to not make the corner. Sucks to suck, Chase Briscoe. If you can't fucking brake in time for the corner because it's too wet, that's on you.
Ask Kyle Larson.
Sucks to suck, right? So I just don't understand that. Christopher Bell had an interview during the rain delay. He didn't understand why they weren't racing. Like, nobody else had any fucking problems. Everybody else was doing okay. No, at least no more problems than that they were having the rest of the time. When they went back racing, it was fucking wet out there and people were missing corners. Kyle Larson, like you said. They didn't red flag the race then. So I don't get the standing water rule. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So I think the red flag was kind of dumb, in my opinion. Plus, the cars driving on the track are going to clear out that water. And they will create a dry line. So that problem will not exist that long. So I disagree with that. I kind of disagree with throwing a yellow for the stage break at the end of stage 2. I understand that it's the standing rule. That is what they're supposed to do, so I'm not that mad at it. But if you're going to change the end of the race, can't you change throwing a competition yellow for no reason? Hey, just letting you guys know, we're not going to throw the caution here. We want to get as much laps under green as we can because we're coming down to the end of the race. We're not going to be able to make all the laps, so we're not going to throw that caution so we can kind of get further into the race and this play out more naturally. Of course, they don't make that decision, which influences the end of the race because I think Christopher Bell or Tyler Reddick probably win that race if the stage caution doesn't come out. But, NASCAR can't get out of their own way. I get that this is new. I get that they are trying their best and they're trying to make it fair and they're trying to make it safe. I understand that. That's why I'm not fucking furious about it. But it just doesn't make any sense to me why every other major motorsport in the world can do it and do it correctly every time, and NASCAR keeps shooting themselves in the foot with these decisions. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Overall, I'll give the race a 4 or 5 out of 10, just because the stupid decisions that were made, and the rain kind of putting a damper on things. But if they would have finished this race and they would have continued the way that they were racing in stage 1, it's probably an 8 or a 9 on my list. I think it was one of the best road courses I've ever watched on the racetrack. But just the decisions and the rain have really kind of ruined it for me. 2 years in a row.
Oh boy, that was a lot. I'll be a little bit more quick about it. I give this race a 4.5 out of 10. Right with you. Kind of for different reasons though. I didn't think, other than stage 1, the racing was all that good. I liked the strategy, which made it very interesting. You had the guys trying to figure out at the beginning of the race if you want to put the slicks on or put the wet weather tires on, and people deciding, hey, we'll give you this one lap to decide. You let you go a cool warm-up lap and see how you like it at pace car speed.
And they let them choose. Hey, look at that.
They let them choose, but then they said, hey, after this, you're going to go to the back. You're not keeping your starting position. And we saw a lot of guys lose their starting position because of that, like Ryan Blaney, Joe Logano, I think some other guys decided, Austin Dillon, some other guys decided to come down pit road at the last minute and lose their starting positions, which was really weird. And then, the track was wet to begin with. It wasn't too bad, it wasn't too messy. Then you had the wet weather tires, like they were working for the first few laps, and then they would fall off because it was getting drier because it wasn't raining yet. And then you see those guys fall back, and the guys with slicks come back, and then the guys on wet weather tires that were at the back and fell back, that the damn leaders on slicks, either they pitted from slicks to wets because they thought it was too wet to start the race, and they wound up biting them in the ass because it dried up really quickly. Like Ryan Preece, Joey Logano, those guys that got caught by the leaders before stage one even ended, which I never would have thought would have happened. That racing right there was incredible. It allowed Shane to pass Ty Gibbs, and Christopher Bell's right there with him, Kyle Larson. It was a great battle. And after that, this whole race just kind of felt like, I don't want to say I wanted it to end, but it just kind of felt like, with all the crazy strategy, with the weather, it pouring down rain for an hour and a half, the end of stage one, taking 30 minutes. We literally waited 30 minutes between the caution for Corey LaJoie and the green flag to start stage two. 30 minutes. That is just, I don't care how you want to slice it up, because DBC today tried to defend their decision, NASCAR's decision to do that. I still disagree with it. You cannot be under caution for 30 minutes, especially at a street course, a road course. Short track, that would probably never happen. I mean, here at Bristol, they were under caution for a long time because remember
they kept adding pace laps so people wouldn't run out.
Run out of tires. We were that's a little more understandable, but still, it wasn't 30 minutes. So you take those 30 minutes and you put them to the end of the race, we would have finished that race or come damn near close to it. And I know that's hindsight being 2020.
Especially if you don't fucking pause for stage breaks.
That too, yeah. So, after stage one, I just really did not enjoy this race at all. Obviously, my pick Shane getting taken out wasn't fun, but yeah, that has very little to do with it. I just really didn't enjoy it. Once the strategy became the strategy as far as the tires go, which it did have a little bit towards the end, but I mean, it was clear that Alex Bowman or Joey Hamlin was going to win that race. I didn't think at all that Tyler Reddick or Christopher Bell or Ty Gibbs would come up through the field.
I disagree. I think Tyler Reddick wins that race if he doesn't hit the wall.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I know, but I'm just saying, I think he wins that race.
We'll never know. But so that was kind of interesting. But I just hate we're shortening races at a so-called such an important race, and we don't even fit. I mean, you think about, I know I always do this, and you always hate me for it. You compare it to other sports. Like, you never shorten the damn LSU Alabama game in the third quarter because it's getting dark.
They have lights.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I hate shortened races because of darkness or weather and stuff like that. We've had this discussion on this podcast at the Coke 600 when it got short, when it got rain delayed and never finished. So that really took me out of it. And, I would argued about this to people on social media. I said I would rather have last week's 5 overtime finish than this finish, only because at least we got way more than the regular scheduled distance, but I'd rather have more racing than less racing. So people shitting on last weekend's race at Nashville, I get it, but I'll take that 10 times over 10 over shortening races, because we've had to do this 2 years in a row at this street course. And I'm not saying we don't need to have it, because I think it belongs in a sport, which we'll get into here in a second. But we have to figure out a different way of doing this.
Start the race at 1 o'clock.
But you can't say it's a big race and then shorten it the first 2 years of existence. It makes it messy, and it makes it feel not authentic. You never shorten a football game. You never shorten any other sporting event. But here, because we want to start the race a little later than we should have, we have weather, which it's fucking middle of the summertime in the United States. You're going to have pop-up showers and rain showers come out of nowhere all the fucking time, no matter where you go in the country, except for maybe fucking Phoenix. And so you have to understand that when you're scheduling these things that, hey, we need to get this is a street course. There's no lights. We got a city ordinance that we have to abide by. Now, NASCAR did a good job of telling them, hey, we will not race past 8:20. They did a good job letting the teams know ahead of time when this race would be official. So instead of last year where they changed it midway through the race and everybody was shocked by
Hey,
it.
race going to end 5 laps.
It wasn't that short, but they shortened it by like 15 laps or whatever last year.
Yeah.
But it caught the teams off guard. They had no idea. The guys that were going to win the race last year, like Christopher Bell, Mark Driggs Jr., they were, well, fuck, our strategy's fucked now. And
Yeah.
the guys that, pitted on a certain lap were able to make it. Now they're good. That was running 25th all day, like Justin Haley and Chase Elliott. So they did a better job this year of that. I just hate that 2 for 2, weather getting in the way, which I know you can't really control, but you can control how you start these races and how you finish these races. And I just don't love how if they say this is an important race. This is, oh my God, this is huge for NASCAR. We're shortening races now to finish just because of where we're at and when we did it, when we kind of did it to ourselves.